you have mentioned Jacksonville a couple of times.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
Duval.
Duval.
Duval. Okay,
So
stop.
So I spent time in Duval. It was my first job out of college, actually. I worked at Deutsche Bank. It was right off of Gate Parkway. I think I stayed on, let me think, Bayside and Southside and Bay Meadows.
Yeah.
I think that
cool.
intersection.
Yeah.
I don't know why I still remember that, but like it was.
I stayed on Southside and Bay Meadows. Was it Villages of Bay Meadows?
It might have been. It's like down the street from a KFC.
We probably were neighbors and didn't even know it.
But Jacksonville, I mean, it was the perfect place for me to kind of be on my own because like it felt very accessible. It felt like the first time that I was an adult, and I think I was there for 2.5 years. So I like really got around the city and just like saw the beaches and saw everything. But like, what does living in Jacksonville and Jacksonville in general mean to you?
That's a good question. So, the last 3.5 years, I've basically been on the road, constantly living in hotels. And I've gotten to see a lot of the U.S. I've been in a lot of really big cities. Like I said, I mentioned New York City. I was in Chicago for 4 months. I was in Denver for like 5 or 6 months. Like I've spent a great amount of time in a ton of really great cities that offered a lot of things, a lot different than Jacksonville. I do love Jacksonville. I grew up there, from, I don't know, I can't even tell you, five until probably almost 30. And that's when I moved to Houston. It has a little bit of flavor, you know what I mean? It's got a lot of soul. People that live there represent 904 for sure, like truly represent. We got the Jags there. We have the beaches.
You're probably the biggest Jags fan that I know.
I'm probably the only Jags fan that you know. Hold on, because I know bigger fans than me. Like my whole company, there's like a ton of Jags people. So that's why we travel with the team. Yeah. Like we go to the games in other cities. When we all went to Kansas City when they played the Chiefs. Sadly, but it was still a good time. No, but Jacksonville, I mean, it felt comfortable, and because I had traveled so much, people asked me this question, like, why did I buy a home in Jacksonville? And when I could have picked anywhere, I think my number one reason is affordability, and which is strange to say because actually it's not so affordable anymore. Yeah. The rent went up 34% in like last year, and then obviously with the way mortgage rates are and all that, it's pretty expensive compared to maybe, I don't know, somewhere in Kentucky or I don't know, probably in Texas. You could probably find pretty nice houses in Texas for what I bought my townhouse in Jacksonville. But no, my number one answer was affordability, but honestly it just feels very comfortable. It's very familiar for me, and from all the bouncing around that I was doing, I think I needed something that was familiar, that felt like I knew everything, that I understood the roads, that I didn't have to use GPS. Sometimes I still use it, but that's basically, that's my feeling. And I have a ton of friends that never left. So that also, it was a really easy transition from being on the road to coming home because I grew up there and seeing all the familiar faces. And, it was really easy, an easy move, definitely.